hello. Maybe now we start. Just let me know if you are listening. Who else can be here? I don't know. Let's see. Just a second. I come back. I will come back later. I will try to check out this. So I kind of don't know who is or can be here, but theoretically I am transmitting. Is anybody out there? 2 persons. I guess one is Martin and the other I don't know. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes. Which a sound. Oh. Hello. Crap. This is weird. Maybe without a mic. Now it's better? I need to wait like 30 seconds until someone can answer if this sounds better. But the idea should be that should fix the problem. Hello. So better but good, or better but not good enough? I know, so I'm going to retry a bit with the mic. So what about now? Hello. I'm trying to fix my headphone problem. Yeah, but who knows? Who knows? But how is possible that there is a problem when I move? Maybe some static, something. That never happened before, but okay. Crap. Hello, maybe, and if I can try another microphone, but no, but the other microphone will still be bad. Anyway, hello. I need to be list. I need this. I will not dance, but I will try to not sing, because in that case, most probably nobody will ever come back. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to start because I do not have all time I would like. I'm going to see this because then I can see what you are saying, and you can see it, so there is not the mismatch that is usually there. And also I'm transmitting all the screen because of course I'm going to be working with GTK, and GTK means opening different screens, so I cannot just focus in the regular Faro screen as usual. So okay, I'm started. No, that. We are going to review a little bit everything about how to getting started with GTK, and then we will do a round of questions that maybe will help you to start testing the tool. Just a second. And then yes, yep. Yes, that is okay. So how do we start? According to my notes, the first thing that we need is to install not this but the VM. Why? Because of course you need a different VM than the regular one that you are using at the moment, and you need it because the event loop that we use interferes with the event loop of GTK, and the headless VM can be adapted to use different backends, the GTK backend in this case, and then we can still work on having GTK window. So how do you start? How do you install? The first thing, as I say, is getting a Faro 8 with a headless VM, and that is something that you do this way. I think I need to check if that works, showing you the zoomed screen, but this is basically going to 0conf of Faro and getting an 8.0 image and also a headless VM. I will then copy the notes. So, but in general, I will put it here, and then you will be able to see it. Yes, that was Faro 8. What I'm using, I just changed the the theme because the white theme is better for presentations than the dark theme. In fact, the dark theme that I use is still worse than the one that you use, but is the same. No, it does not work in Faro 7. It's just for Faro 8. So I'm not going to execute this line because once that I start streaming, my machine is going to be very slow, my streaming will be very slow, but at the end you will have that. Then you have other requirements. In Mac, you need, since this is experimental, we do not have bundles yet, but you need also to install this with brew, and then you will start. That for Mac. In general, and then for Windows, we prepare already a zip with that you can get there, and you can get it, and you can get it in this URL, and you have to unzip this in the same place where the VM, the headless VM, will be there. And of course, in Linux, you are okay because regular you usually have already installed the GTK framework. And if not, you have to install it using the Linux tool that you have at your disposition. So once you have done this, you will have something like this, hopefully without the crash, and then you can do this, and you will have an image here. So once that you do that, you will need to execute this. You go to Metacello and you installs the package marsh GTK. This will install also Spec2 as a dependency, and this will change certain things of your in your machine. As you can see here, I think you can see it. I'm going to check, but I think yes, you can see it. That means that you need to restart your machine. Why? Because once we install this, the GTK driver will take over your system. This is not for Windows users. Windows users do not have to switch, but they have to restart anyway, I think. Anyway, so you save and you quit, and you just restart, and then you are there. Now, if you see, for example, I'm going to show you something. We have instances. If we inspect this, we will have this one. This one is the Word window that we are executing. That means that GTK has takeover here. So now that we are here, we can start working. So I will do an example, a very basic example. Let's go to do, for example, a library for doing for recording films. I'm going to start creating a package, demo. Oh, okay, demo no, it already exists. New package is going to be called demo1. I cannot use bigger fonts because that will screw my demo. What you have to do is to put this in a zoom in your screen, because if I scale things, nothing will work as expected, but I can try it. Zoom, display scale factor, let's see, 1.5. Maybe that will work. Let's see. It's just a little bit bigger. You think it's better? No, it's not. Let me see if I can do this with... The problem with this, Pavel, as you know, is that if I use bigger screen, then Calypso will not work properly. But anyway, we will try it. I think I was saying this. So let's start with our example. I'm going to do a demo, and here I'm going to create as a start an application. The first thing that I need, or starting point in the Spec2, is an application. Why? Because several applications can be at the same time working in our IDE. In fact, for example, Faro itself is an application, and then we are going to develop another. For that, I'm going to extend application, and I'm going to create like a demo application, and I'm going to initialize it with something. Since I'm going to create a GTK application and I don't want to configure it all the time, what I'm going to do is to declare here that I'm going to use the GTK backend, and that is all to start. Now I can create an application and say my demo application new, and we are okay using the backend. I can test it whatever, but since I do not have much time, I'm going to go to the next step, which is to create a class that will be our model. By the way, I'm going to store films. So I have film, the films have a name, I don't know, a director, and a year of production, and I'm going to generate accessors for that. And now I'm going to create the entry point for our applications, which will be, of course, a list of this. For that, I need to extend a presenter, as always. This is going to be demo film list presenter, because it's going to be a list of films. And you see, this is the problem when you scale, that our tools are not prepared for that. But okay, you will need to be tolerant with that. And now I need to declare a layout. What is going to be the layout? Well, at first instance, I'm just going to do a simple list. It's going to show the list that I'm doing. So I just add a list. All of this is more or less the same as you already know if you know Spec. They just are names that change. One of the things important is that we do not have a just one layout that does everything. Now we have just a different kind of layout. This is a box layout that will arrange all our items in a vertical in a vertical order. There is vertical, there is horizontal, and of course a box layout has different possibilities that we are not going, like defining a width, a spacing between the cells, and other stuff that we are not going to cover now. It's going to be documented, even if right now it's not completely documented. It's kind of more or less okay, and it's going to be better documented because Steph is forcing me to work in the spec book, and I'm trying to accomplish it. So anyway, we will have a list here. Let's put a better name, film, more detailed, film list. And here we are going to declare initialize presenters, because it's what we are doing now. We put film list. It's not going to be a list, but a table, and it's going to be a table with some columns. The first is string table column, which is called, of course, title. Title is called name, and it's going to show the name, and I'm going to copy add column, sorry, it's add column, and I'm going to add some more columns, the 3 columns that we have. This is director, which shows director. You can do any question that you want while I'm working. Like that, I also can see if someone is actually looking at this. But okay, so I put the year, and we have this. And of course, we will need to refresh this, and we will put some items here. Let's go to do it. Let's do it. Fine. Let's implement update presenter, which is the recommender selector, the recommender method. And here I'm going to use voyage in memory to make this demo, which means that I can do this, and it's going to work if I declare that this is voyage, if this is a route, if this is a route. So, and of course, if I initialize my repository, which is what I'm going to do. The thing with Voyage is just to make the demo easier. You don't have to ask questions around it if you know what it it's not really needed. It's a zipper. Okay, that's a good reason, because then I'm going to take this. Do not worry, I'm not going to strip this. I'm just going to take this thing out and just tell me if that enhances the problem. And okay, so now we have this. This should work as expected. And then if I do application new, how it was called this, demo film list presenter, demo. Then this is a shortcut to create presenters in the context of our application. That way, the presenter will be related to it. I don't know if that is understandable. I hope it will. And then I can do open with spec. And if I did things well, this of course will show, as you can see, a small window with the list inside, but of course nothing else, because we have not done anything else. So oh, I'm going to try to not hit the screen, but okay. So okay, right now we have that, but it's not much. We need to start to give some shape to that screen. And of course, since the purpose of Spec is doing composable things, that means that this can be composed inside other stuff. So we do not want to pollute this presenter with we don't want to pollute this presenter with Windows-specific things. When we want to open this as an independent window and we want to decorate this, we need to implement this method, which is initialize window. No, initialize window, which receives a window presenter as parameter, and then we can say things like, okay, this is going to have this title, my emdb, I don't know, and it's going to have an initial extent, because I want it to be a little bit bigger. I don't know, the standard thing is this, and that's all. So if now I re-execute this, I'm going to have a window with some decorator. But now, how do I add elements to this list? Well, the elements, I need to add a button. Again, since I do not want, one form to add a button is to add a toolbar, and if in one form to add a toolbar is to add it here, the toolbar, but we also can add it in the window. How? Why? Because sometimes when I'm composing different spec presenters, I do not want to add a toolbar in the position where the presenter will be. Instead, I will add a meta toolbar later or something like that with the components that I want to take. So I could put here a toolbar, and here, for example, set new toolbar, the same as I do when I initialize my components, my presenter. I have to add an item, and I have an sp toolbar item toolbar button to add, which is self new toolbar button. Oh no. No. This does not have. This is weird. I think I had it, but okay. It's the same with a label, which is add film, maybe an icon, which I'm going to use the icons. The idea of having application as my entry point is that I can use it to declare icon providers. For example, by default, of course, it's going to give me the icons of the Faro library, so I can use small add. Why this is not working? Application. Wow. An action. Okay, I'm going to go. Why this is not working? Okay. Or colorizer are not working very good, I think. Yes. And this. Yes, that's the problem. No, instantiate does not work here. And it's not needed. Pavel says that I have to use instantiate, and no, it does not work here. But I could use it, but in fact the toolbar will be dependent of the window. If I use instantiate here, anyway the owner will be redirected, so it's not needed. But okay, normally there should be a self new toolbar button that I will need to add. So okay, and then if I do this, and now I open this, I will have, of course, my film here, which for now does not does anything. So let's add a film, but for adding a film, I will need a component to add it. So this is going to be this will be another presenter that I need, which is demo film presenter, and I'm going to need some things. But then now, since this is a kind of a formulary, I'm going to need to use a different layout. Which is a grid layout. A grid layout does what its name says. It creates a grid. So I can say that I'm going to add the label name. As you can see, I can put the string directly here. This is an enhancement that we have. We can put arbitrary presenters there. In fact, for the next release or the major release, more probably of Spec2, more probably we will move the declaration of specs into the instance side, so we can do yes, I can do live programming with GTK, for example. I will show it now, but I'm not doing it because since I'm using an experimental VM, I can have some crashes because of things, but okay. But I can do it, of course, as always. I can, but one thing that we are not doing now, Milton, is the layouts are still not dynamic, so they cannot be. But most of the things can be, of course, modified on live programming. Director year, and you made me lose the order of what I was doing, but basically I'm creating this grid. This is X, Y axis. No, so I made a mistake here, and here. So this will declare what I need, and then now I need to do this, and I can initialize my presenters. And I'm going to do it as fast as I can because it's consuming a lot of time. New text input. This is a text input. New text input 2. Again, all the this is going to be, for example, a new number input, which is going to have a range minimum between I think there are not, and gr current gr. I think this gives us a number. Yeah, I know it's horrible, the API, but that's not my fault. And then we declare this, and basically, oh, I have the same grid point of for director text. Director 1, 2, no. Yes. And for yes, and for year 2, yes. Okay, so this will give us a presenter for taking a year, but we'll need, let me add also some accessors for this. I do not need the setters, but I need the, oh, by the way, this is called year text and should be called year number because it's a number. And here year number. Yeah, I know those are details that I should not know, but okay. And now if I add the accessors of this, I'm going to be fine for later. And then I can come here for my action add film and say demo film presenter new, and I have to pass the application because it has to still be part of the application. And this is the way that we have to do it. I can also use the self-application new hook, but this is the other way and I wanted to show you. And let's see, this is going to be a dialog, and then my dialog can be open dialog with spec, and then dialog is okay if false, self return, and if not false, then I can create my film, which is name. It is dialog the name text, which is a presenter. Of course, in the real life, I will not do it this like this, this thing like this, but I want to do things fast, and I'm speeding it this way by doing some things that are not perfectly fine, but it's okay. Gr number, and since I use Voyage, I can do save, and then I can say self update presenter. Now, if everything works fine, this should be working okay. More or less okay, but it's part of what we have. This create a grid, but in a ugly way, because of course I just use the default set, because we do not want the text fields to be this size or that, and for that we need to start to tell the grid to behave not in the default way but differently. So let's do that. Yes, I made this mistake now, which is in fact the is okay something that is in the dialog presenter. So let's do this a little bit with some live programming as Milton wants. Let's come to the film presenter and say, okay, but I want my grid to do not expand the fields when they take, so they take the size that I want. So I say be row not homogeneous, means that the rows will not be homogeneous. Now if I do add, this is okay, as you can see. And then, but then this is taking too much, so I can say, for example, I can do the same for the columns be column not homogeneous, and then if I do this, they just take the size that that they should take, but then this is not very cool because it's not occupying all the size of the dialog. So I can say something like in the second column, I can add a constraint with constraints with column 2 with constraints. Okay, let's. It has some constraints, but be expand. That's going to expand this to occupy everything, and then that's how you can start to work with your grid forms. There are other things to do, but okay, I think this is okay for the layout part. So how we do, as you can see, when I said open dialog with spec, it automatically added 2 buttons, and that is not in the presenter because again this presenter could be used in other parts, which I'm going to try to use it later to show it if I have the time. But then I need to do the same. I need to decorate the window with all the things that are needed to define the dialog. First, I could use, as I said here, the window. I could use I could define my film, and I could put an initial extent a little bit smaller because of course this was not so cool, something like that. And then if I want to put things like that are just for the dialog, not for the window, I have another hook which is initialize dialog window, which will have a dialog window presenter as a receiver, and the receiver can define different things. For example, the first thing that I can do is I can tell the dialog that is that should be presented. And now of course I need to do this if I want to have the the buttons, because the other thing that I can do is to redefine my buttons, because all human interaction guidelines suggest that it's better if you put your buttons with clear names and of what you are going to do. So I'm going to do cancel because I still have this. Cancel, which receives the presenter, and presenter enter close because I don't want anything, and then I put save, and I say presenter be okay because this is the result, and okay, and close. This is very easy. I put save and instead of okay, which is not very customized, but okay, but this, and as you can see, now it takes that. So let's save a film. Let's put a film here. So the last film I have shown is The Irishman, which is in Netflix, and it's a great film. I recommend you to see it. The director is Scorsese. I don't any from this year, so it's going to be 2019. If I do save, and this error. You will see what happened. What happened is something that I always forget, and because I do not think that it has to exist, is that here I have to say that these components are auto-accept, and this is not cool. In fact, in my opinion, these components should be all auto-accept by default. It's very long. What? No, it's not long. It's a great film. It's one of the greatest films of the latest times. But okay. And now that I put that, and I can say save, and here we are. We have the file. Let's put another great film. Another Star Wars from 1977. From director George Lucas from 1977. And here we have. But now, another thing that I want to show is how do you compose. Because the cool thing of this is we could compose these things. Now, this I didn't try, so I don't know how it's going to work, but in the demos usually first, but let's say I want to put the detail self instantiate, now yes, and demo film presenter center, and I just wanted to I think it was disabled. I want it to be from query, so I say that it disables. Oh, I think it was disabled. Or be disabled? No, disable. Disable component. This is, and then I add here, oh no, in the class side, I add detail, and here I add a transmission, which is I think I will have to add a special kind of transmission, which is self from families transmit transmit and do from my demo film, and I can say detail of name. Nah, let's do it fine. Let's do it expect transmit to detail, and in detail I'm going to add a input port. Find input ports, and the input port is going to be I want to receive a SP model port. That means that I'm going to receive models, and I need to implement set model, a demo film. So, and now I can say name text a demo film, name director text a demo film director, and year number text demo film year number, sorry, number demo film year. That should work. I'm going to answer this later as I finish the demo, which is just 5-10 minutes more, and then I will answer questions. Okay, let's start. So if I do this and everything works fine, which of course not, nothing. I knew it was not disabled. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to put it like that now, right now. So we can speed this thing. There is an API to disable. No, it's enable false. It was. I think it was that. And I open this. No. Oh. Yes. Input port is an object, not a class. And here we have. And now we have, and as you can see, this transmits perfectly. And we are using exactly the same component to show a detail and to ask for a new film in the dialog. So, other thing that we can do is to, what happens if GTK does not give us the widgets that we want or the things that we want? Well, we have Morphic and we have Athens to that, and we have a way to introduce that. I will put just a small thing. For example, let's see that we put a rating to this. Of something like that, which is going to be another number. Which means this in the presenter. Now I need to add rating, which is going to be also a number. I have this, it's a number, and then I put this. This is just to show how to put something like, maybe I could get a faster example, but writing this, and of course writing goes to 0 to 100. This is the same, and then let's see, if I do this, now I have my rating here, and I have my rating here, which of course is 0, and let's start a really bad film, for example, The Last Jedi, which is horrible. Nobody cares who is the director, and I think is that 2017. Oh, this is a problem. 2017, and right, let's see. Okay, it has some lightsabers, so at least 20 he has, and then he has that, and a regular movie, so we can have some numbers. About a great movie. Well, Once Upon the Time in Hollywood. Which is the Tarantino, and it's from this year or last year, I don't know, and let's say it has an 80%. Okay, so we have these films here, and now I want to put a rating with an image that we, of course, GTK does not provide. For doing it this fast, I'm going to put it in the list. I could put in the other, but I'm going to add a column which is going to be an image column. Image table column, which is rating. And I'm going to evaluate it with a small thing that I brings from other place, but okay, which is I have a film and I have this, which is something that it will build me a form that comes from the inside. This is something that I made with Pavel, with the help of Pavel, and it will have a film rating percent, something like that. And now if I reopen this, didn't work. Whoa. Because percent was too near, because of course my first things, if are not initialized, my first two films. And okay, and it didn't save. Okay, what happened is that in my save and here in that film I didn't copy the values, and now I do not have a really good, so I'm going to do something to show in the demo. To say that, to add some values in the demo. At random, but no, each name, because each name equals, because it could happen that it's going to put it more than what it deserves, and that I will not tolerate it. Okay, this way. And now if I show this X, we have, as you can see, okay, it's a pie, it's not a star, but I didn't have something cooler to show. What is cool, this is plain Athens, so I don't really know if this shows the zoom, but I don't know if it's zooming the screen, I don't know, because I cannot check, just save me, but it's showing very cool graphics by graphics doll. So anyway, this is my demo for now, and that's how you get started to work in Spec2 and GTK. So questions, I have some minutes for questions. The first question was from Alistair. What is here? A quick overview of the code maps Spec2 to GTK widgets. You know, Spec2 is a layer, it's an abstraction layer that is intended to be from different things. It works from Morphic and GTK now, but we are planning in the future to do a backend for Block, and maybe if we have money or resources or whatever in the far future, even other stuff. It could be mapped to Seaside, for example, too, or to something like that. So what we do is to introduce a adapter layer which does different things. For example, let's see a label, which is an easier, a label presenter has different things, and as you can see now it has these observable slots that are extending the functionality using reflectivity to be able to hook and listen to things when they change. And then we have, for example, GTK label adapter. And this is easy, and that's why I'm working on it. This creates a widget. In fact, not what I see is bad, because it's just create a widget, and in the place where it's called, there are some methods that all the widgets receive. First, we create the widget, we add some settings, some regular settings that usually, if they have some style, this is something that I wanted to show. They have some styles. After I finish this, I'm going to show it. Some settings from that are common for all widgets, then some key bindings that we can add it, and it has another which is add the model, which each one, as you can see, each one implements it. And this will add the things that depends on the model. And here we call the super, that in general will be empty, and we set the label, the original label, and we hook to the label saying when label changes, okay, we just update the label. As I said, this is very easy, but it works for everything. Let's try to show something a little bit more complex. A button is a little bit more complex, but not much more complex. Same scheme, but I have a button adapter. And when we hook, we just, if we have a context menu, we add the context menu, we add a menu, and then if we have we hook to the callback click. What does the callback click? Well, this is in the GTK backend. The GTK backend, what it does is to install a callback that it will be received there. So these are a lot of callbacks. You could use GTK directly if you want. It's your choice. In fact, I know that Pavel does something for his work that he needs to do it, and Spec is for doing widget components, not for doing complex stuff. It's for doing application-oriented design, but sometimes you need something else. So what happens is you want to change the style. That's something interesting because it didn't exist in the older spec, and it's not so easy. Well, basically you add a style. How you add a style? Let's do something easy. Here, let's change the style of a label. For example, name. I want this to be red. Okay. Here I need to declare a label because I'm going to affect it as a presenter. So I cannot use it put it in class side, but I put here name label. So, new label name, and I add a style. The style which be my, I don't know, header. Okay, it's going to be called like that just because. And then, and this is the tricky part, you come to your demo application and you need to do a configuration, because that's why I wanted to explain it, because then it's something that you will do. You have to why it's not there? Okay. No. Because it's GTK configuration. You do a configuration. This is a kind of, this is a configuration oriented to GTK that gives me some hooks, and then I redefine configure an application, and then I can add some things. For example, I can change the theme. Let's say this is going to be Sierra Dark, because I love, this is the one that I do. And I can do, for example, add CSS provider from a string, and I put my header as a CSS style. I put color red, if for example, font weight bold. So it's very clear that that's a mandatory field. And then, yes, of course, I need to use it, and then I can instead just using backend here, as I said at the beginning, I said with demo configuration new, and then I just restart it, and then I can just say this, and you can see we just change the demo and we have the label in red, and of course it is correctly affected. I think this is very interesting, because that gives us all the power of the theming that GTK has in a very easy way, and we can just change it. For example, I can do it GTK, we have something, this is changing, I don't know, plain it was, I think there was one that it was called that, and if I do that, yes, it changed it. It's not very visible, but you can see that it's not the same as we had before, and like that. So it's very easy and very, very useful. And okay, that's all. The status of block brick integration is 0. There is not, we didn't start yet, because it's not in our critical path now, and okay, and we need to adopt to block to Faro. We need to work on it, and this is huge task, because the thing guys are doing a great job, but they are working in their needs, and we need to start to merging that into our needs, and then that will take a lot of time. So the status is not yet started the integration of brick, the block and brick with spec. Any other question? I have like 10 minutes more, not much more. In fact, this is still alpha work. We still need a lot for making this working as expected. The version of Spec2 that is in Faro 8 will still change for Faro 9, and then we will be able to release this for public consumption. Of course, it is there Still, if you want to start working on it, to test, Pavel is using it a lot and it's working fine, but it still needs work. We will say that we have in the 80% done, and we are working in the 20% that takes the 80% of the time. Not really, Alistar. It's not going to be Thread FFI is not going to be released as part of Faro 8. Most probably it will be released as part of Faro 9, but we will see. There will be a spec book. As I said at the beginning, Steph is forcing me to work on it, so yes, there will be. And yes, I know there is at least 30 seconds delay. That's why I put the Discord screen in what I'm streaming, so I can answer. I can answer to what I receive, but you will see at least the questions there. I think is the best way to fix it. So you see, the answers. So yes, there will be a Spec2 booklet, but as you can see, it's not so different to Spec1. There are some important concepts like the application, like the styles, and like the transmission that I just showed it fast, and then the configurations and that. But of course the layouts are very different, but no, they will not, they are not in the Spec1 and needs in the Spec1 book and needs to be added, but all the rest is more or less the same. Yeah, running in a single thread. What's in a single thread? Alistar? I don't know. We are about to. Yes, we are working. Everything works in a single thread now, but we are releasing the multi-thread GTK2. But I don't know. I'm not understanding your question. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. That's nice to hear. But now we need to make all the rest to work. The TF worker to run properly, which it was. I think it's same thread runner runs. The other one does not have any reason to not run. Any other question? I'm waiting something for questions. So if there are no questions, I think we are going to finish here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if this little example works fine for you. By the way, styling, no, nothing. We will see later. Very well. Okay. Okay, so thank you for coming, and I'm going to close the streaming right now because I'm starting to be tired and I need to leave to take care of my children. So goodbye, thank you for coming.